Welcome back again to part 2, where we're talking about cortisol, we're talking about stress, and where we went through in part 1 about what is causing stress and the effect it's having on our bodies at a quite a harsh level. We're going to go through a couple of different techniques that we both have in order to look to lower cortisol levels and our perceptions of stress, because as we said, we need cortisol for functioning actually day to day, but it's when it's high for too long that it becomes a problem, and we want to be able to lower that. What would you say a couple of your coping mechanisms for cortisol are?
Jam donuts, coffee,
cucumber and tomato breakfast.
Not cucumber and tomato. I mean, but that's already, that will be some people's coping mechanisms.
Yep.
And it's quite interesting. You know, we're all human. I suddenly find that in the morning I'm going for that coffee, and I'm realizing for me that I'm needing that pick me up. So number one has just been awareness. From a chiropractic perspective, we would always take any health challenge to go back to physical, emotional, chemical. Mm-hmm. So look at life from a physical, emotional, chemical. When you have a health challenge, it's always going to be through a toxicity or deficiency. So physically, as a quick one all the way through, physically I would make sure that I'm not over exercising and putting excessive strain, but I would make sure that I'm still moving and stimulating the body, but I would look at for things which are more like parasympathetic based, so meditation, yoga, walking, you know, things which are getting allow the benefit of movement but without over stressing the body, because the body's already stressed. Chemically, I would look at identifying that I've got cravings going on, and then try and go back to more basic, non-processed foods.
Yep.
Drink plenty of water. From a look at my diet perspective, and try and be a little bit more sharper, because as you mentioned in the part 1, you've got certainly a lot of trace elements, your B vitamins, your magnesium, your zinc. All these are going to get nailed because of stress. So that's diet, the chemical. And then emotional would be looking to identify where the stresses are and coping mechanisms. So how do I cope with mechanisms? Do I spend some time with a mate and talk? Do I do meditation? Do I write a journal? What's throwing me off track from an emotional level?
Yeah,
so that's the chiropractic overview 101.
Yeah, I think the big one there is about talking, because a lot of people, especially in the world where we're more connected than ever, we're more disconnected than ever.
Yeah.
And people don't talk about certain problems they may have, or even talking to themselves when it comes to journaling.
Yeah.
That is massive.
And
I journal every morning.
Guys are traditionally really terrible with that. I think it's changing. I think it's better. I have a classic example. A good friend of mine, with some stresses are going on in from my perspective. We would in past hookup occasion go for a beer, but he's more focused on his health and then he says, I'm not really going out having too many beers these days. So I said, fine, it's not about the beer, let's hook up and go for a walk. So now we're two middle-aged men going out for a walk either with dogs or no dogs. But it's brilliant because we connect, we're outdoors, we're moving, but we get a chance to chat. And I think it's changing, but there's still a lot of work in guys' mentality that it's okay to go and have a chat with the mate and say, listen, you're a good mate of mine, I'm struggling here. I value your input or no input, and just listen.
Yeah, and I think that's key, and the same with the journal and the meditation. There's more of a acceptance on it now, but a few years ago I know that a lot of people were thinking, meditation is just like woo-woo stuff, all this stuff. But breathing techniques help, and breathing in through your nose. We don't nose breathe as much, which is filtering the air, and then out through our mouths. And just doing that can actually switch into relaxation.
The breath is huge when you look at the physiology between the breathing and the diaphragm and the rhythm. I mean, you can slow down your heart rate, you can change that overload system just through breath. Hugely important, and that's where a lot of the relaxation techniques do start with. Feel this and go through, but focus on the breath.
Something I've been doing recently, and I've noticed a hell of a lot of difference in my digestion in a positive way. In fact, 2 things. The first one is not eating at my desk.
Yeah.
Because there are studies to show. My mentor Cliff was saying about it and made me aware of it, that there are studies to show that if we eat where we pay our bills and that's stressful to you, it will slow down your digestion. And you're not going to get the right nutrients from your food, or the nutrients that you could do from your food. What I do, I eat outside now if the sun's out. I have 5 deep breaths in through my nose, out through my mouth, and really try and relax. No phone there, it's me and enjoying it with my food until the dogs start barking at whoever's walking past.
Yeah, I think we lost that connection of where we eat and how we.
And I think that and chewing your food as well.
Yeah.
Because the more surface area we can get, the easier it's going to be for your food to actually have the nutrients taken from it, provided the digestive system is working, and be less stressful for the body.
Well, and you raise an important thing of changing that, because if the stress is work and deadlines, there's this tendency to, I'll just get some food in me because I'm hungry, but the deadline is most important. If you then press stop, and it only has to be 10 minutes, to sit and take, it gives you a pattern interrupt. It allows the body just to reset, rejolt, and go back. And the old thing is, like we talk about with exercise, you can exercise 7 days a week, but if you don't have a couple of rest days, it doesn't mean 7 days are better than 5.
No.
Same with productivity and stress. Your body, as we said in part 1, the stress levels are designed for short bursts. So if you're trying to pump it and then using it going, I'm stressed, but I'm going to wind up the coffee and I'm going to go for it so I can be more productive and get the deadline done, your quality of work is going to suffer, but also your stress levels are actually just going to accelerate.
Yeah, and I think that's key to look at where our starting point is when we talk about exercise. Is that I'm working with a client now over in the States, and his business is going through an amazing growth spurt. The best time he's had in years, and he is overweight, he's got his kids, and he's trying to push through the stress levels. But if we just said to him he needs to work for 5 days in the gym, or work out, 5 days, it's not going to happen. At the moment, it's just, let's just get some better choices, let's get to sleep a little bit earlier, and let's just get some movement in. Because I've done a video on it before, that we may be overtraining before we even get to the gym when it comes to stress levels. And as you said, just picking that right exercise that is going to add to your day rather than take away from it.
There was a good post on Facebook the other day with Dr. Mark Hyman, who's one of the top guys with functional medicine. He's got some great posts. I really recommend to follow him because he's got some little snippets, but one of the main ones is his starting point would be clean the diet out. Because if you're stressed and you're having poor food choices, and then you go, well, stress, because the tendency with stress is like fighting a lion, but there's never the lion. So that some of the theories out there would be, so go and fight the lion. So go do some high intensity training, which in the theory makes sense, is that you're going to burn up some of that adrenaline. But that's great, but you're putting more energy demand on the body. But if your nutrition is lousy,
stop with the
you've
basics.
got no magnesium, no zinc, no B vitamins, the vitamin C levels are low, you're just going to screw yourself even more.
And
so
I think as well,
the starting point varies from person to person, but a lot of the functional medicine guys will be gut first, so diet and gut first, because you've got no building blocks to put something else on top, especially if your choice is to try and
not
do
just
something
supplementing
physical.
either, because
No, it's not
there's
supplement.
no point chucking loads of vitamins in if your body's not absorbing them.
No, and they're still not necessarily going to be in the right proportion.
Yep.
Right? You mentioned chewing. It's that whole thing of breaking that down. There's a whole lot of other biochemical reactions which need to occur through food. So, diet. And the trouble one, I think, that the diet's the hard one, because a lot of people, when they're stressed, naturally are craving the instant sugar, the chocolate bar.
Because of those cortisol levels wanting the extra sugar.
Yeah.
And if we
So you've got to try and break that thing. So the part 1 we said, have
that negative
have an
feedback.
understanding of what's going on, because that's so important. So if you've got the understanding, it can motivate you, saying, no, I'm not going to take that chocolate bar. Maybe the green leafy salad and a walk afterwards is going to be far more
One
appealing.
thing I'm doing with the guy over in the States, and it might be that you guys want to reach out to myself for the coaching side of things, but find someone that's going to make you accountable, even if it's just a friend, and you send him a picture of the food. And he's making better choices because of it, because even if he eats junk, he has to send me a picture of it. and so there's kind of just that little break to actually get him a bit more kind of aware he's doing it.
Well, also the cravings and the stress are very strong, so very often people eat blind, meaning that they just eat it, and then afterwards they go, geez, I've just nailed, you know,
Yeah,
a whole loaf of bread with whatever, as opposed to, as you say, being accountable. It's a good idea.
Well, so we hope that you've got some ideas to lower your stress levels. If you have questions on it, then let us know. Drop us a message. We're both on Facebook in our business pages, and drop us a message on the live, wherever it is you see us. If you walk into the clinic and you see Roger, drop a message.
Yeah,
and we will answer it on the next show. Hopefully,
yeah.
Going well.
So whenever the body gives a health signal, a symptom, a message, it's all about also the why, not only just the what. And that goes not only with stress and cortisol, but pretty much any situation.
Let's get to the root cause.
Ask the what, but certainly, most importantly, there's a why. Right, have a good week. Take care. We'll catch you on the next podcast.